Oh, I really hope this guitar won't just end up in the bin. I've just bought myself the Mick Thomson BC Rich signature guitar. A guitar so infamous, people are calling it the worst signature guitar ever made. But does it really deserve all the hate? Let's find out. So, before we plug this guitar in, how did one of the tightest, most precise rhythm guitarists in metal history end up with a signature guitar that's become a bit of a punchline? To understand that, we have to go back to the early 2000s, a time when guitar companies cared less about quality and more about how aggressive a headstock could look. Right, so picture the early 2000s. Slipknot are everywhere. Every kid wants to tune down to drop B, and if your guitar doesn't look like a weapon, you're not metal enough. BC Rich had the look nailed. Spikes, bevels, widow headstocks, but under the surface, the company was falling apart. After a decade of ownership changes, BC Rich had stopped being a boutique builder and turned into a logo factory. Instead of pushing design, they started pushing volume, literally flooding Guitar Center with cheap, sub $500 import guitars. Players from that era still say they ruined their reputation by selling trash. It didn't matter how they played, they just had to look metal. That's where this thing, the Mick Thomson signature Warlock M7, comes in. Mick's real guitar was a USA custom. Mahogany body, ebony fretboard, EMGs, hardtail bridge, built for brutality. The one you and I could buy, a Korean import with mystery metal hardware and two passive BC Rich special design pickups. It even came with a strap and a poster, because nothing says pro signature model like a poster. And people noticed. One forum post flat out said the action was terrible, pickups were complete trash, and all round awful guitar. BC Rich up by flooding the market with guitars everyone remembers as trash. Even the hardware couldn't cope. That wraparound bridge, fine for E standard, but maybe tuned down to C or B, and the bridge lifts, the studs lean forward, and your intonation's gone before the first chorus. Low tunings need stability, a dense body, solid bridge, longer scale, and pickups that stay tight in the low end. This guitar has none of that. Light body Warlock with a budget wraparound, so every chug sounds flubby and the tension feels like spaghetti. Even the nut slots aren't cut deep enough for heavy strings, so you're always fighting buzz and pitch drift the whole time. So what you end up with is the perfect storm of the early 2000s guitar industry. A brand chasing fashion, a genre built on down tuning, and a signature guitar that couldn't even handle the music it was meant for. BC Rich sold the dream of Slipknot to every teenager, me included, and delivered a guitar that couldn't even survive Slipknot's tunings. The guitar looked like Mick's Weapon from Iowa, but it played more like a cosplay prop. And that's why, 20 years later, the internet still calls it one of the worst signature guitars ever made. So let's plug it in and find out if they were right. So considering they don't make these anymore, I had to hunt one down on eBay. It was the cheapest one I could find. I mean, the condition isn't great, but that doesn't scare me. So I clicked buy, I sent the money over, and then I eagerly awaited it in the mail. Right, let's get this out of the box then. Funnily enough, I've actually really been looking forward to getting this guitar. For me, it's like one of the most metal guitars in the world. It's like the pointiest thing. I hope it survived the journey with all these points. The internet seems to hate it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing if I hate it or if it's actually any good. Here we go. Let's get it open. Whoa. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh, it's got a strap on it as well. There it is. That's all you get to see for now. Wow. There it is. The guitar I wanted the most in my entire life as a kid. Oh, sick. It's even got the... You see that on there? Number 7. So I guess it came with this. I think it was meant to come with a poster as well. That's probably long gone. Oh my god, it's so pointy. Oh, it's very dusty as well. Did the points survive? Oh, no, there's some chips in the top there. I don't know if that's from transit though. I think that's just not being looked after for years. Says hate on it. Yep, it's definitely mixed. One's got a 7 up there. Oh yeah, it doesn't come with EMGs. It comes with like BC Rich EMGs. Oh, Jesus Christ. That bridge is going to need looking at. I remember seeing in reviews it says it can be like pulled up, and it definitely is on this one. it definitely needs a clean and a restring. These strings look like cheese grater wire or something. It slices my fingers off. But otherwise, I mean, there's a chip here somewhere. There's some chips in it, which I was aware of from the eBay listing. I don't know if you can see them. There's one there. There's one there somewhere on the end. Yeah, so I was already aware of those. That's why it was kind of a really low price point. I think the thing that's going to be my biggest problem is this bridge. Can you see that on there? It's kind of, you can see it's lifting. So these bridges actually string from underneath, which I always thought was just a style choice, but actually it looks like that's how you do it. It looks like you feed it through and then pull over. Problem with that is it's kind of like a floating trem where if you put thick strings on and leave it in a high tuning, it's going to pull it out, and it is leaning a little bit. So I'm really hoping that that can be fixed, because I do really want to keep this guitar, but if it can't be fixed, it's going to have to go to a tech or something. I really hope this guitar won't just end up in the bin. One thing I have noticed is, kind of like with Flying V's and Fender Strats, there's like a neck point break angle where in order for the action to be straight all the way down, the neck has to be in like a weird angle. And it has got that weird angle, which in theory means it should be fine. My Flying V is the same, and I initially thought that was a problem, but actually that's how they're meant to be. Also, I guess you would sit with it like this, kind of like I sit with Flying V's or the Dean ML. But the one thing I have noticed already is I think this point here is going to get in the way of my arm when I'm playing. So is this a style over substance kind of thing? Who knows? But it feels all right. It's quite heavy. It's a lot heavier than I was expecting. It's not Les Paul heavy, but it's not like super light like a cheap guitar. So I think the first thing I want to do with it is just play it as it is. I'm not going to restring it just yet. I want to see like how it sounds and how it feels and how it plays out of the box. I just want to test out the stock pickups and the strings that are on it just to see how it is. I'm guessing it's not in tune. It's not in tune. So let's tune it up first. It's currently in just like an amalgamation of D and E because all the tuning pegs have obviously got knocked out when they were in transit. Eventually I want this to be in drop B, because obviously it's a Slipknot guitar. But with this bridge issue, I'm worried that it won't be able to go in drop B with thicker strings, because it currently looks like that bridge is stuck in place. So I'm hoping that when I take it apart and rebuild it, that I can fix that, or it might be a vital flaw of the guitar itself, which again means it might end up in the bin. But I really hope not. Like I said earlier though, that point on the corner does seem to rub my arm a little bit, which I'm surprised. I guess you'd have to have it right up like this, or wear a trusty sweatband or something. And it actually sits quite nicely. I don't need a footstool. I usually have a footstool here and I'm not actually using one, because it sits like this, and it has a strap as well, obviously, so I could play it standing up. So I'm just going to plug it into the computer now and use a plug-in just to hear how it sounds, because people say these pickups aren't very good. Dusty guitar. You can keep that in. These are BC Rich, like, I guess, like EMG imitation type pickups. Well, not imitation, but high output-y, active, passive-y things. But I eventually do want to put EMGs in them, but I just want to see how they sound first on their own before I just instantly rip them out. I mean, first impressions, that's pretty good. Oh, here we go. Is the wiring okay? Because it's just now. Oh no! There you go, this is worth keeping it. No! Hopefully it's just dust, as you can hear. It's probably gonna need some contact cleaner or something. No, I riffed too hard and broke it. Or the neck pickup works. That neck pickup's quite nice. But I might have to change the pickups just because they didn't work. Yeah, I think that bridge one's giving up the ghost. Huh? Oh, I can't believe this, for God's sake. I've been waiting for this for ages. I plug it in. Good job I didn't cut all the strings off and then set it all up, because I don't know. I didn't know if I would have noticed this, but that pickup's now not working. So it's technically dead on arrival. Oh, wait there. There we go. If I just move, it's maybe just a loose wire. If I move the pickup itself, it's working. Oh, I think I'm just riffing too hard. I'm breaking it. The down picks. I think it just needs a clean. It'll just, hopefully I'll take it all apart and clean it. Otherwise though, they sound pretty good. Lots of bass in it for it's like an E flat. But yeah, if I can get that pickup working, maybe they'll stay in there, but otherwise I was thinking of putting EMGs in it. But I think it's time to completely take it apart and clean it and see if it fixes that bridge issue. Otherwise, it probably will go in the bin. Time to take it all apart. So usually when I get an old guitar that's been from an auction or eBay or something, I always like to take it apart completely, clean it out, dust it, take all the parts out, and make sure that everything is spotless before I reassemble it. The process took me about 2 hours because the guitar wasn't in a great condition, very dusty from not being played. The strings hadn't been changed for a very, very, very long time. And as you can see, the fretboard was gross. It was full of rusty string oxidization or oils. It was horrible. For the first time ever, I had to get a little razor blade out and get all that gunk off and clean it down with some fretboard oil and conditioner. The process, I think, was relatively easy because I had all the relevant tools, but it was time consuming and back-breaking. It took me a long time to clean the fretboard. I think that was the thing that took the longest, other than disassembling it. But it's quite a therapeutic process, and as long as you have all the tools and the patience, I think everyone should at least have a go at doing this themselves. Considering the guitar was a bolt-on, I would say it was quite easy to take apart, and because I've done this before, I had confidence in my ability to be able to do this safely and securely. The only thing that absolutely did my head in was trying to restring it with that really weird bridge. The strings kept slipping out, and then I actually realised there are little holes that you're meant to thread them through. They don't just get held in place like I thought they did, and that process took me way longer than I thought it should have. I opened up the cavity to check out the pickups to see if anything was loose, and I couldn't really see anything, so I'm not sure what's wrong there. I think it turned out okay. I may have been a bit overzealous with the razor blade in some places, but otherwise I think the guitar is now in a semi-playable condition. So basically just put it all back together and then I hope for the best. Here it is. Meticulously set up, disassembled, cleaned, tried to fix all the issues. Could I fix them? I don't think so. I don't think this is the result of someone who's had it for a long time. I think they would have always had this problem. The bridge issue is very much still there, if you can see that. I always thought putting strings under and over was just like a cool thing that people like Zach Wild did. But this bridge is actually designed that way, so you have to thread it through a hole and pull it up over. But because you want to play with this guitar in drop B or lower tunings, you have to have thicker strings. And then similarly to a floating bridge, it then pulls the bridge up. The bridge is only really made of like die-cast metal, like a toy car. So I think unless you're playing any standard with like 9-42s, I think you're always going to have that problem. So if I do keep it, I'm probably going to change that to be something a bit more sturdy, because it also seems to pull the poles out a little bit. And when I took the bridge off, there's lots of like dents where the poles have been sitting. The pickups still sound the same, but the bridge one still doesn't really work. I took it apart and looked at the wiring and I couldn't see anything obvious, but there's definitely something loose in there, because when I press this pickup it starts working again. But again, if I keep it, I'm going to put EMGs in it anyway, so stay tuned for a video of me upgrading this guitar. I've cleaned the fretboard quite meticulously, as you can see here. It's not 100% perfect, but I've done as much as I can in the time that I spent with it, a couple of hours or so. First time ever I used like a razor to actually clean off all the gunk from like years and years of not being played, or finger gunk from being played, or the string rust and all that kind of oxidization from the metals. I took all the tuning pegs off, as you saw in the video, cleaned everything, put it back together. I'm still really impressed with how it plays. I think it still plays really nice. I've always lusted after one of these as a teenager, and I kind of dreamed about having one of these. And yeah, the things that I didn't like, I still don't like. This bit is still quite sore on the arm when you're playing. I think if you stand up and play, it might be a bit easier. Haven't really tried that yet. Spent most of my time Restringing it, I took the whole neck off to see if that neck break angle was meant to be like that, and it is. So the fact that the bridge is pulled up actually fits a lot better than I was expecting. I lowered the action on the bridge itself because when I first got it, it was really high. So the action is actually pretty playable now. But as we remember, pickups don't really work. Tuning isn't great, it goes out of tune. The G string likes to go out of tune like it does in most guitars. So I might even upgrade those too. But playing wise, it's okay. Doesn't work fully, but let's also see if me taking it apart has fixed that issue with the pickups. Well, that's a good sign. Neck pickup still works. Middle position still works. The input on my interface for the bridge one is a lot lower than the neck pickup, but I did lower the bridge pickup with a screwdriver, so that could be why. If you remember at the beginning, it completely crapped out and stopped when I was playing guitar. I don't know if the low gain is because they're not active pickups, there's no battery in them, so it could be that. I'm used to EMGs and those kind of Fishman sounding pickups, so maybe it could be that too. They almost sound like they're like a split coil sound, especially in the neck position. Almost sounds not like a humbucker. It sounds like a split coil bridge, or split coil humbucker even. It's definitely more reliable than it was the first time. Still goes out of tune though. Ah, there we go. Now it's gone. Just have to press on the pickup. So I'm probably going to change them anyway, just to be authentic. Put some EMGs in there, but yeah. The wiring would need redoing if I was going to keep them. But for signature guitar, for the guitarist of Slipknot, playing in drop B, super high gain, active sounding, high output pickups, these are an absolute miss. One thing that always kind of blows my mind is that this thing here that's kind of so insignificant actually has a huge role to play in whether or not the guitar is playable. You can tell BC Rich kind of dropped the ball. The metal's made of like die-cast metal, which is what they make toy cars out of. And if they just used a higher quality metal, I don't think it would have this problem. And I also don't think this is something due to its age. I think it was always like this. So if you'd got one in 2002 or whenever they came out, it would have always been like this, and it would have been really disappointing. So I guess the question still remains, is this one of the worst signature guitars ever made? I'd say maybe, yeah, it probably is. If you were buying this as a beginner, if I was buying this years and years ago when I was 15 and I was stoked to play a Mick Thomson guitar and put it in drop B and play Slipknot riffs, and then the bridge just goes because it's made out of die-cast metal, I'd probably be massively disappointed, and I'd probably get my dad to take it back, or you'd have to invest loads of money in fixing it, and that's not the point of buying a signature guitar. The whole point is you buy it and out of the box it should be ready to go. So I'd say it is kind of all style, no substance in this case. It doesn't stay in tune, it doesn't hold E standard, let alone drop B, and then the bridge just goes boom, which you don't want in a guitar that's basically designed to be a Slipknot riff machine, especially when you compare it to like his modern ones, which come set up in those lower tunings. They're designed specifically for him to play them and for you to play them. This is not a guitar that you would play Slipknot with without putting loads of money into and upgrading it. So actually, it probably is one of the worst signature guitars ever made. But considering all the flaws this guitar very clearly has, I still kind of love this guitar. I don't know if it's nostalgia, I don't know if it's because I'm a Mick Thomson super fan, but I really like it. I used to dream of having one of these, and now I've got one. So maybe I'm just clinging on to that hope that it is nice when it's not really. I'm trying to convince myself that it's a great guitar, but maybe it's not. Yeah, you know, it's rough around the edges, but is it meant to be? I don't know. And I love it so much that I'm willing to put the significant amount of money into it that you're going to need to upgrade this, to change the bridge, the pickups, probably the tone pot. This thing is missing screws, and the tuning pegs, it's not staying in tune. That's probably gonna be like $500 or something, and hopefully then it'll be a somewhat playable hopefully. Really nice guitar, but who knows? It may be up for sale at some point. I think for anyone who was buying this off the bat, or if you're a beginner, I don't think you should have to spend a load of money to make it playable. It should always have been playable right out of the box. So that's where they've kind of dropped the ball massively, and I guess that's where it gets the tagline of like the worst signature guitar ever made. So if you were always thinking, I've always wanted to get one of these, and you find one, make sure you get it for the absolute lowest amount you can get it for. Like I got this one for under $200, because you're pretty much gonna have to upgrade it and you're gonna have to put loads of money into it to make it better. Even if you were just changing the pickups to EMGs to be like Mick Thomson, that's like $200 straight away. So you're already adding that value on. So if you can find one, get one cheap, or if you're really lucky, get one of the higher end ones. So let me know in the comments if you do want to see me upgrade this, because if you do, I will, and I'll make a whole video series about me upgrading this guitar to see if it makes it any better. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and if you actually want to know what guitars I do recommend for metal, check out the resource link in the description below.